All right, today I'm going to finish Deuteronomy. So I'm going to read chapters 28, 29, 30, and 31. And also, I'm going to read Psalm 62 and 63. Adam and Eve once stood before God in the garden, facing a life or death decision. Israel now stands before God at the edge of a garden land, facing the same. Moses clarifies Israel's two options. They can enjoy they can enjoy life and ongoing blessing by listening to Yahweh and following his instruction, or experience cursed suffering and loss by rejecting Yahweh and trying to seize blessing on their own terms. The harsh list of curses in today's reading probably feels excessive, even vindicative. But it's important to consider their function in Israel's context. First, the covenant curses of Deuteronomy parallel common rhetorical techniques of other ancient Near Eastern law treaties. When two nations enter into a covenant with each other, the terms usually include a lengthy list of curses to emphasize the stakes of the agreement. Second, as you'll see in the video, curse refers to the consequences of humans trying to seize blessing on their own terms. When Yahweh says rejecting him means curse, he aims to warn rather than terrorize. God wants Israel to understand the real and painful consequences of seeking blessing from idols. If barley wilts in parched fields, a stone statue can't bring rain. If enemy soldiers storm cities, a wood carving can't stop them from dragging away Israel's children in chains. Yahweh has already promised to bless Israel. Now the Israelites have to choose whether they want his blessing. They will fail if they try to get life security, fertility, and abundance elsewhere, because only Yahweh can provide those things. Moses insists God alone is the source of life, so choose life. All right, on to the video.
The story of the Bible begins with God bringing life out of darkness, ordering our beautiful world, and then blessing all of its creatures.
Hold on, blessing. That's one of those funny religious words.
Yeah, right. People say a blessing over their meal or after they sneeze.
Or just a general way to say that things are going well for me.
But in the Bible, a blessing is more specific. The first blessing in the Bible is when God creates animals, and he blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the land."
So God's blessing is about flourishing and multiplication of life.
Right, it's when God shares his life-producing ability with others. Next, God gives humans an additional blessing that sets them apart from the animals. Not only are we one of God's creatures that can generate new life, we've also been appointed as God's representative image to rule and oversee this whole flourishing world on God's behalf.
So part of our blessing is to take care of God's blessing for all creation.
And God wants us to rule while trusting in his abundance, to eat from the tree of blessing, that is, the tree of God's own eternal life.
Now there is another tree to eat from.
Yes, and it represents this decision to try and seize abundance and life on our own terms by our own wisdom.
The humans encounter a deceptive creature who tricks them into eating from this other tree, thinking it's a shortcut to blessing.
And instead of blessing, this tree brings a curse.
A curse? You mean like a magic spell?
No, in the Bible, the curse is when God hands people over to the consequences of seizing our own blessing on our own terms. It's a curse because instead of abundance and life, we end up with scarcity, isolation, and death. So God curses the ground, and instead of fruitfulness, there will be famine. Instead of overseeing the world, they will have to work the land until they die.
Man.
But God also curses that deceptive creature that fooled the humans, saying that a human will come one day to destroy it. And that human will be born into a world of scarcity where men and women and families and tribes are all locked in violent conflict.
If God's blessing is now covered with a curse, how can we flourish? Even more, how can we rule with God?
Well, here the biblical story takes an interesting turn. God chooses one couple, Abraham and Sarah, and God blesses them and says they will become a huge family.
Be fruitful and multiply.
And there's more. God says that his blessing on Abraham and his family is for this larger purpose, so that through them, God's blessing can go out to all of the nations.
So God's plan is to reverse the curse and restore the blessing by first blessing this one family.
Right. And this family does experience God's blessing. Even when they journey through times of danger and scarcity, they grow into this huge nation, Israel.
And God brings them to a mountain and invites them to be his representatives.
Yes, God will bless Israel so that they can become a blessing to the nations. All they have to do is trust and live by God's wisdom. And they're told that this is a choice between life and death, between blessing and curse.
Now keep reading, because the Israelites almost never trust God for his blessing. Their story is filled with tales of deception, violent grabs for power, resulting in the ultimate curse: exile from their land and slavery to foreign nations.
But Israel's prophets, who lived through all of this, they still trusted in God's promise to Abraham. And they anticipated a future Israelite who would come to restore God's blessing and reverse the curse for Israel and for all the nations.
When we turn to the story of Jesus, we find Israel still experiencing the curse, living as slaves to the Roman Empire.
But Jesus, he so trusted in God's blessing. He claimed that it was arriving in a new way through himself.
He wanted his followers to trust in God's abundance, to share and be generous.
And he even taught his followers to bless people who curse them. Jesus would even reverse the curse by healing and restoring people's bodies.
God's blessing is being unleashed.
Jesus also confronted his fellow Israelites who were in power, and he accused them of getting in the way of God's plan to bless Israel and the nations through them.
Those leaders arrest Jesus so they could have him killed.
And instead of fighting back, Jesus believed that he was that chosen Israelite who would face the curse that Israel and all humanity deserves, and he would allow the curse to fall on him.
Jesus dies the shameful death of a man under the curse.
But just as God brought life and blessing out of darkness in the beginning, so here, through Jesus, God reverses death by raising Jesus. The curse is put to death, so that the blessing of God's life can spread out once again.
After his resurrection, Jesus blessed his followers, and he said that his presence would be with them as they learn to trust in God's blessing and share with others.
And while death and the curse still have a hold on our world, followers of Jesus trust that the power of God's blessing is even stronger.
It means we can live with extreme generosity, even when it seems like there's not enough.
And that leads us to the conclusion of the biblical story, where every nation is enjoying the gifts of God's abundance, because in God's new world that is sustained by the life-giving power of Jesus, there is no longer any curse.
All right, Deuteronomy chapter 28, blessing for obedience. If you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully follow all his commands I give you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations on earth. All these blessings will come on you and accompany you if you obey the Lord your God. You will be blessed in the city and blessed in the country. The fruit of your womb will be blessed, and the crops of your land and the young of your livestock, the calves of your herds and the lambs of your flocks. Your basket and your kneading trough will be blessed. You will be blessed when you come in and blessed when you go out. The Lord will grant that the enemies who rise up against you will be defeated before you. They will come at you from one direction, but flee from you in seven. The Lord will send a blessing on your barns and on everything you put your hand to. The Lord your God will bless you in the land he is giving you. The Lord will establish you as his holy people, as he promised you on oath, if you keep the commands of the Lord your God and walk in obedience with him. Then all the people on earth will see that you are called by the name of the Lord, and they will fear you. The Lord will grant you abundant prosperity in the fruit of your womb, the young of your livestock, and the crops of your ground in the land he swore to your ancestors to give you. The Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of his bounty, to send rain on your land in season and to bless all the work of your hands. You will lend to many nations, but will borrow from none. The Lord will make you the head, not the tail. If you pay attention to the commands of the Lord your God that I give you this day and carefully follow them, you will always be on top, never at the bottom. Do not turn aside from any of the commands I give you today, to the right or to the left, following other gods and serving them. Curses for disobedience. However, if you do not obey the Lord your God and do not carefully follow all his commands and decrees I am giving you today, all these curses will come on you and overtake you. You will be cursed in the city and cursed in the country. Your basket and your kneading trough will be cursed. The fruit of your womb will be cursed, and the crops of your land, and the calves of your herds, and the lambs of your flocks. You will be cursed when you come in and cursed when you go out. The Lord will send on you curses, confusion, and rebuke in everything you put your hand to, until you are destroyed and come to sudden ruin because of the evil you have done in forsaking him. The Lord will plague you with diseases until he has destroyed you from the land you are entering to possess. The Lord will strike you with wasting disease, with fever and inflammation, with scorching heat and drought, with blight and mildew, which will plague you until you perish. The sky over your head will be bronze, and ground beneath you iron. The Lord will turn the rain of your country into dust and powder. It will come down from the skies until you are destroyed. The Lord will cause you to be defeated before your enemies. You will come at them from one direction, but flee from them in seven, and you will become a thing of horror to all the kingdoms on earth. Your carcasses will be food for all the birds and the wild animals, and there will be no one to frighten them away. The Lord will afflict you with the boils of Egypt and with tumors, festering sores, and the itch, from which you cannot be cured. The Lord will afflict you with madness, blindness, and confusion of mind. At midday, you will grope about like a blind person in the dark. You will be unsuccessful in everything you do, day after day. You will be oppressed and robbed, with no one to rescue you. You will be pledged to be married to a woman, but another will take her and rape her. You will build a house, but you will not live in it. You will plant a vineyard, but you will not even begin to enjoy its fruit. Your ox will be slaughtered before your eyes, but you will eat none of it. Your donkey will be forcibly taken from you and will not be returned. Your sheep will be given to your enemies, and no one will rescue them. Your sons and daughters will be given to another nation, and you will wear your eyes watching for them day after day, powerless to lift a hand. A people that you do not know will eat what your land and labor produce, and you will have nothing but cruel oppression all your days. The sight you see will drive you mad. The Lord will afflict your knees and legs with painful boils that cannot be cured, spreading from the soles of your feet to the top of your head. The Lord will drive you and the king you set over you to a nation unknown to you or your ancestors. There will There you will worship other gods, gods of wood and stone. You will become a thing of horror, a byword, and an object of ridicule among all the people where the Lord will drive you. You will sow much seed in the field, but you will harvest little, because locusts will devour it. You will plant vineyards and cultivate them, but you will not drink the wine or gather the grapes, because worms will eat them. You will have olive trees throughout your country, but you will not use the oil, because the olives will drop off. You will have sons and daughters, but you will not keep them, because they will go into captivity. Swarms of locusts will take over all your trees and your crops of your land. The foreigners who reside among you will rise above you higher and higher, but you will sink lower and lower. They will lend to you, and you will not lend to them. They will be the head, but you will be the tail. All these curses will come on you. They will pursue you and overtake you until you are destroyed, because you did not obey the Lord your God and observe the commands and decrees he gave you. They will be a sign and a wonder to you and your descendants forever, because you did not serve the Lord your God joyfully and gladly in the time of prosperity. Therefore, in hunger and thirst, in nakedness and dire poverty, you will serve the enemies the Lord sends against you. He will put an iron yoke on your neck until he has destroyed you. The Lord will bring a nation against you from far away, from the ends of the earth, like an eagle swooping down, a nation whose language you will not understand, a fierce-looking nation without respect for the old or pity for the young. They will devour the young of your livestock and the crops of your land until you are destroyed. They will leave you no grain, new wine, or olive oil, nor any calves of your herds or lambs of your flocks until you are ruined. They will lay siege to all the cities throughout your land until the high fortified walls in which you trust fall down. They will besiege all the cities throughout the land, and they will besiege all the cities throughout the land the Lord your God is giving you. Because of the suffering your enemies will inflict on you during the siege, you will eat the fruit of the womb, the flesh of your sons and daughters the Lord your God has given you. Even the most gentle and sensitive man among you will have no compassion on his own brother or the wife he loves or his surviving children. And he will not give to one of them any of the flesh of the children that he is eating. It will be all he has left because of the suffering your enemy will inflict on you during the siege of all your cities. The most gentle and sensitive woman among you, so sensitive and gentle she would not venture to touch the ground with the sole of her foot, will begrudge the husband she loves and her own son or daughter, the afterbirth from her womb and the children she bears. For in her dire need she intends to eat them secretly, because the suffering your enemy will inflict on you during the siege of your cities. If you do not carefully follow all the words of this law, which are written in this book, and do not revere this glorious and awesome name, the Lord your God, the Lord will send fearful plagues on you and your descendants, harsh and prolonged disasters, and severe and lingering illnesses. He will bring on you all the diseases of Egypt that you dreaded, and they will cling to you. The Lord will also bring on every kind of sickness and disaster not recorded in the book of the law until you are destroyed. You who were as numerous as the stars in the sky will be left but few in number, because you did not obey the Lord your God, just as it pleased the Lord to make you prosper and increase in numbers. So it will please him to ruin and destroy you. You will be uprooted from the land you are entering to possess. Then the Lord will scatter you among all nations, from one end of the earth to another. or to the other. There will there you will worship other gods, gods of wood and stone, which neither you or nor your descendant ancestors have known. Among those nations you will find no repose, no resting place for your sole of your foot. There the Lord will give you an anxious mind, eyes weary with longing, and a despairing heart. You will live in constant suspense, filled with dread, both day and or night and day, never sure of your life. In the morning you will say, "If only it were evening," and in the evening, "If only it were morning," because of the terror that will fill your hearts and the sights that your eyes will see. The Lord will send you back in ships to Egypt on a journey I said should never make again. There you will offer yourselves for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you. All right, let me read the section here, Earth's atmosphere, which refers to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 12. The Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of his bounty, to send rain on your land in season, and to bless all the work of your hands. God can send regular rain to earth as promised in Deuteronomy 28:12 because the atmosphere has been finely tuned to allow it. The complex process that allows water to evaporate from the oceans, rise into the sky, form into clouds, and later fall as precipitation would not be possible without an atmosphere. How did Earth's formation allow for conditions favorable for our atmosphere when the formation of celestial bodies like our moon did not? Many outside factors, including comets or volcanic activity, may have played a role in Earth's favorable atmosphere. But one key reason for such condition is the gravitational strength of our planet. Air molecules are pulled by gravity just like physical objects on Earth's surface are. During Earth's formation, its gravity was just strong enough to retain the foundational stages of our current atmosphere. This allowed a primitive environment to form and prevented molecules from slipping away into space. If the gravitational force had been a bit stronger, no molecules could have escaped, and our planet would have turned into greenhouse unsuitable for any life. If gravitational force had been a bit weaker, our atmosphere would have floated away into space. Instead, this ancient atmosphere combined with the precise gravitational force eventually collected the oxygen molecule that composed the ozone layer, which is vital for protecting plants and animals from ultraviolet light. Due to this protection and other uniquely favorable conditions, Earth became abundant in plant, animal, and human life. All right, chapter 29. There are terms, or renewal of the covenant. There are terms of the covenant the Lord commanded Moses to make with the Israelites in Moab, in addition to the covenant he had made with them in Horeb. Moses summoned all the Israelites and said to them, "Your eyes have seen all that the Lord did in Egypt to Pharaoh, to all his officials, and to all his land. With your own eyes you saw those great trials, those signs and great wonders. But to this day the Lord has not given you a mind that understands or eyes that see or hear what." Let me read that again. "But to this day, the Lord has not given you a mind that understands, or eyes that see, or ears that hear. Yet the Lord says, during the 40 years that I led you through the wilderness, your clothes did not wear out, nor did the sandals on your feet. You ate no bread and drank no wine or other fermented drink. I did this so that you might know that I am the Lord your God. When you reach this place, Sihon, king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, came out to fight against us, but we defeated them. We took their land and gave it as an inheritance to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. Carefully follow the terms of this covenant so that you may prosper in everything you do. All of you are standing today in the presence of the Lord your God, your leaders and chief men, your elders and officials, and all the other men of Israel, together with your children and your wives, and the foreigners living in your camps who chop your wood and carry your water. You are standing here in order to enter into a covenant with the Lord your God, a covenant the Lord is making with you this day and sealing with an oath, to conform you this day as his people, that he may be your God as he promised you, and as he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I am making this covenant with its oath, not only with you, who are standing here with us today in the presence of the Lord our God, but also with those who are not here today. You yourselves know how we lived in Egypt and how we passed through the countries on the way here. You saw among them their detestable images and idols of wood and stone, of silver and gold. Make sure there is no man or woman, clan or tribe among you today whose heart turns away from the Lord your God to go and worship the God of those nations. Make sure there is no root among you that produces such bitter poison. When such a person hears the words of this oath, they invoke a blessing on themselves, thinking, I will be safe, even though I persist in going on my own way. They will bring disaster on the water land as well as the dry. The Lord will never be willing to forgive them. His wrath and zeal will burn against them. All the curses written in this book will fall on them, and the Lord will blot out their names from under heaven. The Lord will single them out from all the tribes of Israel for disaster, according to all the curses of the covenant written in the book of the law. Your children who follow you in later generations and foreigners who came from distant lands will see the calamities that have fallen on the land and the diseases with which the Lord has afflicted it. The whole land will be a burning waste of salt and sulfur, nothing planted, nothing sprouting, no vegetation growing on it. It will be like a destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim, which the Lord overthrew in fierce anger. All the nation will ask, why has the Lord done this to the land? Why this fierce burning anger? And the answer will be, it is because the people abandoned the covenant of the Lord, the God of their ancestors, the covenant he made with them when he brought them out of Egypt. They went off and worshipped other gods and bowed down to them. Gods they did not know, gods he had not given them. Therefore the Lord's anger burned against his land, so that he brought on it all the curses written in this book. In furious anger and in great wrath, the Lord uprooted them from their land and thrust them into another land, as it is now. The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things revealed belong to us and to our children forever, that we may follow all the words of this law. Moving on to Psalms, but I think there is a section here that I can read. Why is archaeology important? If we can trust in the Bible when it tells us about straightforward earthly things that can be verified, when we are more likely to trust in areas where we can't directly verify it in an empirical way. There have been thousands, not hundreds, of archaeological finds in the Middle East that support the picture presented in the biblical record. There was a discovery not long ago confirming King David. the patriarchs and or the patriarchs, the narratives about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were once considered legendary, but as more becomes known, those stories are increasingly corroborated. The destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah was thought to be mythical until evidence was uncovered that all 5 of the cities mentioned in Genesis were in fact situated just as the Old Testament said. As far as their destruction goes, archaeologist Clifford Wilson says there is permanent evidence of the great conflagration that took place in a long distant past. All right, moving on to Psalm 62. For the director of music, for Jeduthun, a Psalm of David. Truly my soul finds rest in God, my salvation comes from him. Truly he is the rock and my salvation. He is my fortress, I will never be shaken. How long will you assault me? Would all you throw down me? Would all of you throw me down? This leaning wall, this tottering fence, surely they intend to topple me from my lofty place. They take delight in lies. With their mouths they bless, but in their hearts they curse. Yes, my soul, find rest in God. My hope comes from him. Truly he is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will not be shaken. My salvation and my honor depend on God. He is my mighty rock, my refuge. Trust in him at all times, you people. Pour out your hearts to him, for God is our refuge. Surely the lowborn are but a breath, the highborn are but a lie. If weighted on a balance, they are nothing. Together they are only a breath. Do not trust in extortion, or put vain hope in stolen goods. Though your riches increase, do not let your hearts on them. One thing God has spoken, 2 things I have heard. Power belongs to you, God, and with you, Lord, is unfailing love, and you reward everyone according to what they have done. All right, I'm going to also do day 63 to finish out Deuteronomy. So let's do that. The end of Deuteronomy also marks the end of the Torah. And we see hyperlinking connection with the beginning of the story. As in the first garden, humanity faces a choice between trusting Yahweh's wisdom or its own, faith or fear, life or death. The whole world's blessing hangs in the balance. Moses' rise to this occasion by giving the Israelites a spectacularly unmotivating pep talk. At first, he's somewhat positive. He promises that life and blessing lie within their reach. He wants them to see that the heart of God's law is good, reasonable, and attainable. Then Moses abandons all positivity and predicts a bleak future. He says they, like Adam and Eve in the garden, will fail the test. They will reject Yahweh's instructions and experience things nobody wants to experience. A whole scroll's worth of pleading and warning can't change Israel's heart, but Yahweh can. Moses' reminder of Yahweh's relentlessness, loyal love provides a glimmer of hope at the end of Deuteronomy and the close of the Torah. The first 5 books develop a pattern that will continue unfolding until the end of the scripture. It's about the people of Israel and all people learning generation by generation to know God's love for them and to trust Him as He completes the work of rescuing and restoring humanity. Torah refers collectively to the Bible's first 5 books: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Used generally, Torah can also mean law or instruction. All right, back to Deuteronomy. All right, chapter 30. Prosperity after turning to the Lord. When these blessings and curses I have set before you come on you, and you take them to heart wherever the Lord your God disperses you among the nations, and when you and your children return to the Lord your God and obey him with all your heart and with all your soul according to everything I command you today, then the Lord your God will restore your fortunes and have comparison on you and gather you again from all the nations where he scattered you. Even if you have been banished to the most distant land under the heavens, from there the Lord your God will gather you and bring you back. He will bring you to the land that belonged to your ancestors, and you will take possession of it. He will make you more prosperous and numerous than your ancestors. The Lord your God will circumcise your hearts and the hearts of your descendants, so that you may love him with all your heart and with all your soul, and live. The Lord your God will put all these curses on your enemies who hate and prosecute you. You will again obey the Lord and follow all his commands I am giving you today. Then the Lord your God will make you more prosperous in all the work of your hands and in the fruit of your womb, the young of your livestock, and the crops of your land. The Lord will again delight you and make you prosperous, just as he delighted in your ancestors, if you obey the Lord your God and keep his commands and decrees that are written in the book of the law, and turn to the Lord your God and with all your heart and with all your soul. The offer of life or death. Now, what I am commanding you to do today is not difficult, or it's not too difficult for you or beyond your reach. It is not up in heaven, so that you have to ask, who will ascend into heaven to get it and proclaim it to us so we may obey it? Nor is it beyond the sea, so that you have to ask, who will cross the sea to get it and proclaim it to us so we may obey it? No, the word is very near you. It is in your mouth and in your heart, so you may obey it. See, I set before you today life and prosperity, death and destruction. For I command you today to love the Lord your God, to walk in obedience to him, and to keep his commands, decrees, and laws, and you will live and increase. And the Lord your God will bless you in the land you are entering to possess. But if your heart turns away and you are not obedient, and if you are drawn away to bow down to other gods and worship them, I declare to you this day that you will certainly be destroyed. You will not live long in the land you are crossing the Jordan to enter and possess. This day I call the heavens and the earth as witnesses against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live, and that you may love the Lord your God, listen to his voice, and hold fast to him. For the Lord is your life, and he will give you many years in the land he swore to give your father, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, let me read this section here that refers to Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 9 and 10. The Lord will again delight in you. if you obey the Lord your God and keep his commands and decrees that are written in the book of the law. More important than inerrancy. And what does that even mean? Although Christians hold the Bible and its teachings in the high regard, sometimes the belief in biblical inerrancy can become a distraction that keeps people from asking the right questions. Some have made biblical inerrancy the litmus test for whether a person is Christian, says Dallas Seminary professor Dr. Daniel B. Wallace. Theologian Carl F. H. Henry argued against this in 1976. He urged young evangelicals to recognize that while inerrancy is important, it's not on the level of certain other crucial truths, and belief in inerrancy shouldn't be used as an excuse not to engage seriously with history. Still, sometimes Christians put a roadblock in front of somebody, saying they can't become a Christian until they believe in inerrancy. Wallace uses a personal example to illustrate his point. Some years ago, I met a Muslim girl who was interested in Christianity. She came to me with 6 handwritten, 6 single-spaced pages of supposed discrepancies in the gospel. She had been taught by Muslims that if you can find one error in the gospels, then you can't believe anything they say. She said to me, "You're going to have to answer every single one of these before I can believe anything about Christianity." My response was, don't you think this list proves that the writers didn't conspire and collude when they wrote their gospels? She said, "I've never thought of it that way." I said, what you need to do is to look at the places where the gospel do not disagree at all. And where do you find that? You find a core message that is revolutionary. Jesus was confessed as the Messiah by his disciples. He performed miracles and healed people. He forgave sin. He prophesied his own death and resurrection. He died on a Roman cross, and he was raised bodily from the dead. So now, what are you going to do with Jesus? Even if the gospel writers have differences in their accounts, whether we should rally call them discrepancy is a topic for later. Then this only adds to their credibility by showing they weren't huddled together in a corner cooking all this up. Doesn't this agreement on an absolute core of central beliefs suggest that they got the basics right, precisely because they were reporting on the same events? 2 weeks later, she became Christian, and now she's a student at Dallas Seminary. My point is, inerrancy is important, but the gospel is bigger than inerrancy. Cool. I think the word means to be errorless. Moving on to chapter 31, which is right here. Joshua to succeed Moses. Then Moses went out and spoke these words to all of Israel. I am now 120 years old, and I am no longer able to lead you. The Lord has said to me, you shall not cross the Jordan. The Lord your God himself will cross over ahead of you. He will destroy these nations before you, and you will take possession of their land. Joshua also will cross over ahead of you, as the Lord said, and the Lord will do to them what he did to Sihon and Og, the kings of the Amorites, whom he destroyed among or along with their land. The Lord will deliver them to you, and you must do to them all that I have commanded you. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Then Moses summoned Joshua and said to him in the presence of all Israel, be strong and courageous, for you must go with this people into the land that the Lord swore to their ancestors to give them, and you must divide it among them as their inheritance. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. Public reading of the law. So Moses wrote down this law and gave it to the Levitical priests who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and to all the elders of Israel. Then Moses commanded them, at the end of every 7 years, in the year for canceling debt, during the festival of tabernacles, when all Israel comes to appear before the Lord your God at a place he will choose, you shall read this law before them in their hearing. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the foreigners residing in your towns, so they can listen and learn to fear the Lord your God and follow carefully all the words of this law. Their children who do not know this law must hear it and learn to fear the Lord your God as long as you live in the land you are crossing the Jordan to possess. Israel's rebellion predicted. The Lord said to Moses, now the day of your death is near. Call Joshua and present yourself to the tent of meeting, where I will commission him. So Moses and Joshua came and presented themselves to the tent of meeting. Then the Lord appeared at the tent in a pillar of cloud, and the cloud stood over the entrance to the tent. And the Lord said to Moses, you are going to rest with your ancestors, and these people will soon prostitute themselves to the foreign gods of the land they are entering. They will forsake me and break the covenant I made with them. And in that day, I will become angry with them and forsake them. I will hide my face from them, and they will be destroyed. Many disasters and calamities will come on them. And in that day, they will ask, have not these disasters come on us because our God is not with us? And I will certainly hide my face in that day because of all their wickedness in turning to other gods. Now write this song and teach it to the Israelites and have them sing it, so that it may be a witness for me against them. When I have brought them into the land flowing with milk and honey, the land I promised on oath to their ancestors, and when they eat their fill and thrive, they will turn to other gods and worship them, rejecting me and breaking my covenant. And when many disasters and calamities come on them, this song will testify against them, because it will not be forgotten by their descendants. I know what they are disposed to do, even before I bring them into the land I promised them on oath. So Moses wrote down this song that day and taught it to the Israelites. The Lord gave this command to Joshua, son of Nun. Be strong and courageous, for you will bring the Israelites into the land I promised them on oath, and I myself will be with you. And Moses finished writing in the book after Moses finished writing in a book the words of this law from beginning to end, he gave this command to the Levites who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord. Take this book of the law and place it beside the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God. There it will remain as a witness against you, for I know how rebellious and stiff-necked you are. If you have been rebellious against the Lord while I am still alive and with you, How much more will you rebel after I die? Assemble before me all the elders of your tribes and all your officials, so that I can speak these words in their hearing and call the heavens and the earth to testify against them. For I know that after my death you are sure to become utterly corrupt and to turn from the way I commanded you. In days to come, disaster will fall on you because you will do evil in the sight of the Lord and arouse his anger by what your hands have made. The Song of Moses. And Moses recited the words of the song from beginning to end in the hearing of the whole assembly of Israel. And I guess that means that's the song is going to be in the next chapter. But before we, oh shoot, I didn't realize I only plan to do 4 chapters today, and there's actually more to Deuteronomy. I guess I'll finish it tomorrow. Psalms 63. All right. A Psalm of David, where he was in the desert of Judah. You, God, are my God. Earnestly I seek you. I thirst for you. My whole being longs for you in a dry and parched land where there is no water. I have seen you in the sanctuary and beheld your power and your glory, because your love is better than life. My lips will glorify you. I will praise you as long as I live, and in your name I will lift up my hands. I will be fully satisfied as with the riches of foods. With singing lips my mouth will praise you. On my bed I remember you. I think of you through the watches of the night, because you are my help. I sing in the shadows of your wings. I cling to you. Your right hand upholds me. Those who want to kill me will be destroyed. They will go down to the depths of the earth. They will be given over to the sword and become food for jackals. But the king will rejoice in God. All who swear by God will glory in him, while the mouth of liars will be silenced. All right, that's it for day 63 of the one story that leads to Jesus Bible reading plan. And yeah, it does look like day 64 is the last day for Deuteronomy. So I will do that tomorrow. Cheers.